And we are live. Hey, Mary. Hi. Hello, you guys. And welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm just checking settings really quick. Video looks good. Audio looks good. If for any reason you can't hear me or see me, just let me know in the chat. But everything looks good on my end, so yeah. Happy hump day, you guys. Halfway through the week. And today is a good day for some Q&As. Hey, guys. Hey, Kim. Hello, Burku. Burku, expect an email after this live session, just FYI. Hello. Hi, guys. Michael, you're so good. John, what is up, John? Welcome. My friend, welcome. Lissy, Rennie. Yay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and jump in here in just a moment. I noticed we had some questions that already came in. We'll get started on those. I just want to give it a couple seconds longer, like give people a chance to join us, come on in, and we will. Yeah. I'm so excited. I love doing these. This is my favorite time of the day, favorite time of the week, hanging out with you guys. Mimi, hi. I got some good people in here. I love it. Hello, Sally. Hi from South Africa. Wow. Hello. Thank you for joining. Awesome. Ooh, excuse me. Need some more caffeine, I guess. You guys are amazing. Good morning from Florida. Good morning to you too, Michael. And good morning it is. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and jump on in. I don't want to waste too much time just sitting here. But love seeing you guys. Thank you again for coming on in, hanging out. Gonna answer some questions, gonna talk about the law, gonna dive into some good stuff. Now, I absolutely love that, the questions that people have been asking are getting deeper and deeper, it seems. And I love to see it. The self-exploration is apparent, and I'm here for it. I love it. Okay, so a couple quick things to know before we get started. As always, I've got a couple announcements going on down in the description box. I've got my resources available if you're interested in workshops or courses. I also have a 5-day live workshop coming up on the 19th. So registration is down below. It is 100% free, talking about all how to start to level up, grasp this, and turn 2023 into the best year ever. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys join. All that's down in the description box below. So with that said, last thing, got a premiere coming out this week, and it is a client success story, and it's an amazing video. I cannot wait to show you guys. So keep eyes out for that. Keep tabs out for that. It will be coming out this week, and the inspiration is strong with this one. So enough of my rambling. let's answer some questions. And starting up at the top. And I am going to try to get to as many people as I can. As always, if for whatever reason I missed you, if I didn't get to you, I do apologize in advance. But I tend to come on here frequently, so inevitably your question will get answered. And Kennedy has a really good question. This is actually one that has been asked a couple times in the last few weeks. Kennedy asks, what do we do when our desires are all mixed up? In other words, how do we figure out what it is we really want? And why do we get stuck in such states of confusion and turmoil? Continued, I know that our desires are God's spoken word, but then why are they so unclear sometimes? I feel very stuck and caught in the middle between two ideals and can't seem to make a decision. Man, that's a big one, and you are certainly not alone in that. And it's not the best place in the world to be. So basically, why is it that we seem to get stuck between two desires at times, like two things that seemingly really, really want, and it creates a whole world of confusion within us? And I mean, the long winding explanation short is that why we have the desires is it ties into why we're here in the first place. It's all about the experience that we are wanting to have or we're meant to have. And that's entirely why we're here. We're here to experience and discover and learn and grow and evolve. You know, God became man so that man could become God. This is all about, self-discovery, self-exploration, and evolving. So on that journey, it is rife with confusion and not all fun things at times. So when it comes to being stuck between two places or two things that we can't decide what we want, basically indecision, what the deeper explanation for that is, I could not tell you, but I would start to really, really pay attention, meditate, go within, and see how you pay close attention to how you feel when when meditating on one and then meditating on the other, and note how you feel. And it's going to take some self-exploration. It's really going to take some digging. But why we have this happen is the same reason that we have the experiences that we have. This is all about self-exploration. This is all about evolving. But I know it's not fun at times. The best thing I could tell you to do is to really meditate and see, what feels like the more genuine thing to you. Which one feels more natural to you? And what are the reasons that we have that desire there? Are they based in fear? Is one of them based in fear, the other based in love? Are they there's dynamics to each of those. So I would really do some self-observation and go within. Yeah. I was trying to manifest an SP, and then I met somebody new. Now I also like him too, but again, I am having not being chosen issues. Now I want to manifest both of them. And what should I do? How should I affirm for both SPs? So, you would go about it in the same way that you manifest for the one SP. But I will say, and this is an important thing to note, if you're noticing the pattern coming up again, if you're noticing that they are showing up in the same way, you nailed it on the head there. When we have the not being chosen, when that feels like the concept, when that feels like the belief, when that feels like something we identify with, that needs to be addressed first. I would really take this time, as much as we want to focus on the SP, I would really, really, really recommend taking this time to go within and, really take the time with you, and specifically focusing on you becoming the best version of you. Really tapping into, how do you want to show up? What do you want to be? When you think about this perfect relationship with this SP or the other SP or whichever one, when you think about yourself in a perfect relationship, what do you look like? What are some of your attributes? How do you show up in your day to day? Do you see yourself as more confident? Do you see yourself as somebody comfortable in their skin, somebody who knows their worth, somebody who knows their value? Then start imagining yourself as that person. Start to really tap into and embody that person. Because as much as we're tempted to just go straight for the SPs, if we are in this state of not feeling worthy or not feeling chosen, we're going to see these things keep repeating. So for the sake of that not happening, I would strongly recommend using this time to really focus on the self-concept, and that is focus on you. When revising, what do you do with memories of the old timeline when they pop up? I get disappointed or worried. So when revising something, if we do have the memory, that old memory come up, if we have that thing that happened that was unwanted, anytime that comes up, reject it, essentially. Remind yourself that that's not actually what happened. Say that's not what happened. Recall the new revised memory. And when that happens, it's indication that we want to try to go back and revise it again. And ideally, we want to revise it until it is no longer coming up for us. But there's no need to get worried. There's no need to stress. This happens. This is quite normal. I would just reject that old story, reject that memory, remember that new one, and when you have a moment to do so, go back and revise again. What would you say the meaning/purpose of life is from a love assumption lens? We are here to learn and grow and experience. God became man so that man could become God. Fall asleep so that we can wake up again through this journey that we're on. That is why we are here. Hello from England. Hello, Angel. Hi, Manny. I sometimes expect people to match the state of the wish fulfilled because I'm immersed in it. So how do I deal when others in the 3D are not conforming? It can throw me off. Absolutely. Yeah, dealing with the 3D can be quite annoying, certainly. But I guess in part that's happening because of the expectation. And I know exactly what you mean when you've been immersed in this imaginal world where people are showing up a certain way and they don't show up that way. It can be a bit something that can throw us off for certain. But the thing that I would recommend is to just remember that there's what seemingly, like for most people, most of the time, I'm not saying all the time, but for most of us, there is what appears to be a delay between when we've imagined something and when it shows up out here. So if there's no conforming yet, it is only because things are still moving, things are still happening. Keep going with it. Don't let it deter you. Don't let it. And I know it's easier said than done. It's one of those things where you eventually get to a point where you're not as affected by the 3D. You get acclimated to a point where you're not as reactive to what's happening out here. But because of how much we have been conditioned by the 3D, that does take some practice to get to that point. And it's just remembering that. It's remembering that this is a whole new thing for us, and that we're learning how to interact with something completely different. There's always a beat, or I shouldn't say always, but there is at most times a beat between when something is imagined and when it shows up. So we don't need to worry about it, essentially. We don't need to worry about it. Pay no mind. If they did something unfavorable, revise it. And go right back into that assumption, seeing them as you see them in imagination. What does it mean when you're just tired of wanting the desire and tired of trying, essentially? What does it mean when you're tired of wanting the desire and tired of trying? It sounds to me, Jessica, like that's probably burnout, if I'm being 1000% honest. If it feels exhausting, if you feel exhausted, if you're not feeling any kind of motivation to, continue in imagination or continue even wanting this thing, yeah, typically a sign of burnout. And if that's the case, if you are feeling burned out, if you're feeling really tired, I would give yourself a break. I would give yourself a much needed break and let yourself just recharge your batteries for a moment and just, relax and get right again, I guess. Take some time for you to just chill out with everything. And when you are feeling better, when, you're not feeling so tired, not feeling so drained, from there, you're in a much better place to make decisions, make the conscious decision of where to go next. But if you are feeling any kind of burned out, take a break. Take a break. Mental health is important. It is the most important. That goes for everyone and everything. Oh, sorry, I keep losing my spot. Sorry, guys. How do I approach manifesting a job that I'm worried they think I'm too old for and would reject me offhand? I started with the fake email method, but doubts are still there. So how to approach manifesting a job when you're worried that they're going to think you're too old and reject you? I mean, the first thing that I would do when approaching that, if that's the first thing that comes up, I mean, see that for what it is, first and foremost. See that assumption basically for what it is. It's fear. It's an assumption. It's a belief. It's not fact. It's not anything other than a speculation that we have. It's a hypothetical. We're entertaining something that isn't actually real. And this is ultimately what we're doing all the time. And that's what manifests. So I would reject that notion. I would reject that notion entirely. And it's rooted in, the societal norms and rules. And for anything like that, anything along the lines of, oh, I'm not going to get hired because I'm too old, or they're going to reject me because I'm not what they're looking for. I mean, that's all just garbage. It's all garbage we've picked up along the way, living in this society, living amongst all the rules. See it for what it is. That's how I would approach it. Like, oh, this is a fear. This is an assumption based in fear, based in these old stupid rules that mean nothing and have no power over me unless I give it that power. And then see yourself getting the job. Oh, I keep losing my spot. The chat keeps shifting and I keep losing. Sorry, guys. Does revision change the past, like change people's memories from the past? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. How can we revise a whole relationship? You can rewrite the whole story. You could. If you want to revise a whole relationship, everything that happened, rewrite the script. Rewrite the story. It doesn't have to just be one event. Revision isn't just like one singular event. It certainly can be, but if there were many things that happened and there's a lot that we want to change there, I just rewrite the whole damn script. And literally think of it like a movie script. And we're just making new additions, new revisions, as they are called in the industry. Make a whole new one. Go nuts. You are the screenwriter. How do you keep the faith when it seems impossible? My logical mind can't see how it's possible, and I struggle to keep faith that is even possible. I try to think of logical ways to make it happen. The logical mind is definitely going to think it's impossible. This has nothing to do with logic and reason and being practical. And that was something I certainly struggled with. Yeah. Being very much a rational mind myself, that was a struggle. But ultimately, this is where it comes down to faith. Trying to figure out the logical ways that it's going to happen. That's essentially conditioning. You're conditioning the ways, you're limiting the ways in which what you desire can show up for you. Because in my experience and in the experience of many other people, when something manifests for us, it shows up in a way that we could have not ever consciously conceived. Like the logical, reasonable mind could have never predicted how it showed up. Ever. So I think in part, because you are trying to figure out how it could happen is ultimately what is keeping it from happening. So I know it's not the easiest thing to do, but we gotta drop that. We gotta drop that. And a good way to start to do that is testing this and really work on building your faith right now. And I would do that first and foremost. If it feels like you're struggling with that aspect, with the faith aspect, with is this real? Can I really do this? Is this actually possible? The only way that you're actually going to be convinced is if you experience it yourself. I mean, I could sit here and talk about it all day, but the only way that you are going to believe me, and that goes for all of you, is if you test it. So don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. Start testing it. Start really paying attention. Start to observe what you are thinking, what you are internalizing, and pay attention to what's happening on the outside. And you will see the connection between the two. When the more you start to pay attention, you will see it. And then there's literally no way to doubt it. So I would start there. I've withdrawn from socializing while I revise. Is this okay? Certainly. Yeah. If it feels, easier, if it feels like it would be less challenging if you were alone right now, if you kind of you know, wanted to take a moment for yourself while you work on revision, sure. Yeah. For the sake of not being, triggered by the 3D or anything like that, absolutely. My Spotify playlist is excellent. Thank you. You are sweet. Some coaches on YouTube are claiming that SP's manifestation is not 100% guaranteed. It's possible. But as I do have a choice to choose to be with someone, my SP has the same choice. What do you think? So, if I understand your question correctly, and forgive me if I misread anything or misunderstood, some coaches on YouTube are claiming that the SP manifestation is not 100% guaranteed. Well, I mean, that part is it is possibility, yes. Is it 100% guaranteed? Now, if you maintain the assumption if you maintain the assumption and if you persist in that assumption, it will happen. It will happen. But for a lot of us, for I would argue most of us, myself included, for a long time, we become very double-minded and wind up getting ourselves in, feedback loops from a sense of urgency and all sorts of things, battling with doubt and, wind up getting burned out. But if you maintain that assumption, if you are steadfast that the SP and I are back together, this is inevitable, then it will unfold. It is 100% guaranteed in that circumstance. But that's ultimately depending on us. And that to the second part of your question, your SP does not have the same choice in your reality, in your world, through your lens. Mm-mm. No. Other people do not have this kind of free will, the illusion of free will, as you will. No. These coaches are mixing up different teachings that, yep. Yeah, there are a lot of things getting mixed up in this. A lot of things coming over from the law of attraction and a lot of limiting beliefs that are kind of getting mixed up in all of this. So, yeah, I agree, Mary. We got to be mindful. Yeah, people will put their limitations or their limited beliefs on their teachings. Does trying to save money indicate poverty thinking? That's a really good question, Simone. Does trying to save money indicate poverty thinking? No, well, it's the perspective that you have. So if you are trying to not spend as much money is ultimately what you're doing, depending on the lens that you're looking at that through, could be poverty mindset or not. Because rich people also are very stickler with their money. In fact, the wealthiest people I know, you would never guess in a million years based on their lifestyle, the clothes they wear. They shop at regular department stores like everybody else, not going and spending $1,000 on a pair of shoes. So the act of saving money or not spending all your money, that is also a thing that rich people do, very much so. It depends on how you are viewing it, the perception that you have of it. You know, To the poverty mindset, oh, I need to save my money, I'm running out of money. To the abundant mindset, it's I'm growing my wealth. I'm not going to blow all my money because I want to continue to grow my wealth. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? It's the perspective that you have. It's the same kind of act. I mean, it's the same kind of actions. You're not going out and blowing a bunch of money, but it's all perspective. How to deal with the frustration of unwanted slash dangerous thoughts while in SATs. So how do we deal with our mind going to other places while trying to do SATs is what I'm taking of that. And that's unfortunately not uncommon. We may be trying to keep ourselves focused. We may be trying to focus on a scene, but a random thought will pop up or our mind will start to wander. That's very common. And the way to, I guess, start to navigate that, the way to begin to reel that in is to start practicing something like a focused attention meditation, something to help you essentially train your focus, learning how to redirect your mind, basically. That happens because the mind is undisciplined. Our mind is always just kind of wandered all over the place and does whatever it does without, any sort of, our mind has always just kind of done its thing. But we can learn to train that. We can learn to have that kind of discipline to redirect and to keep our focus solely on this one thing. It is a practice. It is a practice, but I would absolutely recommend it if you're having trouble with intrusive thoughts, mind wandering, and things like that. Yeah. Mary coming in here and spitting some facts. I love it. I love it. Girl, you're awesome. I still don't get how a person who blocked you for months, didn't want to have anything to do with you, but still would come back and love you. Is manifesting really that powerful? I mean, it certainly feels final when somebody blocks you, right? Somebody said they don't want to have anything to do with you. That was my case. Yeah, my person wanted nothing to do with me. He was done. He was done with me. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. None of that matters. Manifesting is really that powerful. Yes. Yes. And essentially, if there's not an understanding of how that works, I would really go back and learn about states. If the circumstances and I can't talk today. If the circumstances seem so big, like they can't be moved, like you don't understand how this could possibly change, I would go back and start relearning things about states. Because essentially that's where the confusion's setting in. How a person changes is not them changing, it's us moving to a new state. So that's how that works. But I would go back and check that out. I've made a few videos on states, but I would get more familiar with that so you have a better idea of how this works. Misty, can you talk about manifesting 2 SPs? Will the subconscious mind get confused? No. No. You mean like a polyamorous relationship? Just so I'm clear, no judgment at all. Just want to make sure I'm clear. But I mean, in short, Pixie doll. It's the same way in which you would manifest just one SP. I keep losing my spot. Everybody getting 2 and 3 SPs. I love it. Simone, I always love your questions. Girl, I love your questions. They are great. Must we first revise old relationship patterns before trying to manifest an SP? Is permanent failure real for some people or only if they quit? Love those. So, to the first question, do we want to revise first the old relationship patterns before jumping in it with SP? My answer would be yes. And I know that's probably not the answer people want to hear because we want to get to it already. We want that person back. But as somebody who has been in both of those circumstances, just getting the SP back and just fixated on getting them back and that's it, and somebody who had to really go and clean house before focusing on them, the latter is obviously what kept him around. So you can impress this new idea. You can impress manifesting your SP subconsciously. Like, you can manifest that in and of itself without doing anything else. Of course, I'm not saying you won't manifest them unless you do this. You can, and you likely will. But if we are still operating from those old assumptions and from those old patterns and beliefs, history is going to repeat itself. And that's what we're trying to avoid. That is what we're trying to avoid. And that should be, if you want to manifest an SP, I'm assuming it's a lasting relationship with SP. So if there was some stuff there that, perhaps really awful parts of the old story, things that you're having a hard time letting go of, if there's resentment, if there's there can be a lot. So yes, we would want to revise that first. We would want to, and then that's what I did the second time. I really had to take a good look at me, where I was, what I was hanging on to versus where I wanted to be. And it was very opposite. So yes, I would do that first. Is permanent failure real for some people, or only if they quit? Only if you quit. Permanent failure, and again, if I'm misunderstanding this, but is it possible to just permanently fail no matter what? Like, you're destined for failure? No. Mm-mm. No. You will not fail unless you choose to pack up and go home, which again, it's totally fine if that is what you want to do. Thank you, David. Revision works. Do it daily, especially right after the undesirable thing occurs. Rework the clay on the wheel. It really is that simple. Absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed. And I do recommend trying to revise as soon as something unwanted happens, like as soon as possible after that. Just, if nothing else, because we don't want to forget to do that. And I know it can be easy to forget. But revise daily. How to manifest someone disappearing out of your reality if this person is with a close family member and you see them every day. I can't ignore them like I would if they were the classic third party. So, how do we manifest somebody out of our reality when we have consistent interaction with them? And that's a really good question because there's a lot of people that are in that kind of predicament. And, I naturally that's going to feel difficult at first. Naturally, that is going to feel difficult because of how much we are conditioned to the 3D being this real world. I'd say to the best of your ability, keep your distance as much as you can, first and foremost. Um, Whatever that means, if possible, again, I don't know the situation or circumstances, but if you have to tell people like, hey, I need some time to do me and just be alone right now, trying to work on myself, then do that. If that helps to kind of take that out of the equation. But if not, if you are like, this is something I have to deal with, know that it gets easier the more that you practice going within. At first, yes, it's going to feel very challenging interacting with somebody in the 3D and then seeing them another way in imagination. But continue to see them that way in imagination. If they do something to piss you off, revise it on the spot. Like, be that much more stubborn and insistent on, I'm not going to do anything about, like, I'm not going to give my attention to all of this out here. And just keep practicing going within. Keep practicing going within. It does and will get easier to the point where you will not be focused anymore on this. This is all the reflection. This is all just the shadow. And it's dumb to react to a shadow, like literally like reacting to your own shadow. Now, I know that it feels very real right now, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, to the best of your ability, try to avoid them if they are causing that much upset. And if you absolutely cannot avoid, then know that with practice, it does get easier to not let yourself be phased. And this goes for a lot of questions. A lot of people are asking questions relating to the 3D, which is a given, right? We are living a 3D experience, but practice strengthening the imagination. And that really should be priority number one. That should be priority number one, no matter what you are trying to do. Practice, going within, going within, going within. That is how you strengthen this imagination muscle. That's how you do it. Hi, Missy. Will missing someone affect your manifestation? I can't help missing my SP. Well, when you're missing somebody, what does that imply? It implies that they're gone, that you don't have them. Now, backing up, are you going to fail to manifest if you miss somebody? No, not necessarily. If that's the case, I would, when you catch yourself in that missing, shift your focus, try to redirect yourself to the best of your ability. I know at first it's going to seem very challenging. We're going to have moments where we miss our person. That's a given, and that's okay. But we don't want to continue fixating on that. We don't want to continue to dwell in that. So if you notice it, just become aware that this is all old conditioning, this is all old patterns, this is old story, and shift your focus. Shift your focus. This is so much about where we put the attention and focus on. So much of this is just where we are giving our attention, what we are giving our attention to. Yes, daydreaming versus Imaginal acts. Yeah, I made a video talking about daydreaming versus imaginal acts, or thinking of versus thinking from. I would definitely check out that video. If you search through my videos, um, it will come up. I've actually made a couple of videos talking about daydreaming versus, imaginal acts where we are in it or thinking from it, and that's an important distinction. One implies that you are there in that scene, and the other implies that you are just separate from it. When I'm manifesting something and I already think I have all the knowledge necessary about the law, should I pause on watching manifestation videos? I don't think I need to watch them. Yes, absolutely. So if you're at a point where you feel confident that you know enough, you know everything you need to understand, and that there's really nothing left to learn, then yes, absolutely. That's when we want to begin like applying this. And it's easy to get stuck in the pattern, in the loop of watching videos, watching videos, watching videos, and doing nothing but watching videos. We also want to be applying this as much and often as possible. Now, that said, if you are feeling like you need a boost of inspiration, if you're feeling like you need something to help keep you motivated, then sure, absolutely. Absolutely. That's it also in part what these videos are for, is just that motivation and to keep inspired. But if you feel like you've got a solid grasp, then absolutely turn the attention to the application of this. What is my routine? Is my routine? It's a good question. I've mentioned it a couple times. I think I mentioned it a few times before. Really, I mean, it's not the things that I do every day. The things that I do every day, without exception, is an hour of meditation in the morning, an hour of meditation in the evening, every day, when I get up and before I go to bed. And that in that place, I'm preparing the next place I want to go to, setting sights on that state, basically. And mostly I meditate in that state of gratitude and in that state of satisfaction. It sets the tone for the day, and it wraps things up at the end of the day. I take with me into sleep that state of satisfaction, that feeling of satisfaction and gratitude. It's very general. There's nothing that's super specific that I want at the moment. If I do come across something specific that I want, I'll include a visual scene in one of those times. But it's mostly that. It's mostly that, and playing around in the hypnagogic state. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Missy. I had this job offer from 2 months ago, but I had to show proof. I had to show proof I have a degree, but I couldn't, so they put me in no longer consideration from past 2 weeks. So you had a job offer that you needed to have a degree. Since you don't have a degree, they're no longer considering you, is what I've gathered. Revise it. Revise it, revise it, revise it. If they came back to you and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you need a degree, we can't consider you unless you have a degree," I would revise that. Whatever conversation was had, change it. Change it. And don't accept that outcome. Just don't accept it. Don't accept it. Regardless of what screw the circumstance. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Revise what happened. Continue to see yourself at the job. Continue to see yourself in that place of work. Circumstances do not matter. I lost my spot. Why would an SP completely disappear out of your reality and not reply to any texting? Are they completely in a different reality? What if they no longer exist? Ooh, getting deep with this one. So, why would SP completely disappear and not reply to any texts? Are they completely in a different reality? Did they vanish? Did they go somewhere else? I mean, the short answer is we're the ones moving. We're the ones moving. So, if they're not replying, if they seem to have disappeared, we moved into a state where that is the experience we're having, right? Did they disappear from that state? No, no. Um, I think you might find it interesting to look at the uh, the Nobel Prize winners this year in the physics area, like in the physics department. Who the people that won the Nobel Prize for physics this year? Look into that. This will kind of answer this question for you about how reality isn't real. At least the real reality. It's all what we observe. Everything outside of that isn't real. Check that reading about that may help to make more sense of your question. Yeah. Hi, Missy. Can it be more challenging to do imaginal acts and do this work when sick? I've been exhausted, but keeping up with it. So much pushback during this time. Have you experienced this? Absolutely, it can be. Absolutely, it can be. And if you're feeling exhausted, um, you know, give yourself some rest right now. Take care of yourself first and foremost. Is I guess what I'm trying to say. Because any kind of mental expenditure, if it feels like we're exerting a lot of energy into this, then of course that can make this feel harder if we're not feeling good. I would say right now, just if you need to take some time to rest and heal, I would make that the priority. Set the intention, the impression of health, and then give yourself some time to just rest. Yeah, yeah. We don't want to try to force it. We don't want to try to force it. We don't want to try to force it. What do you think is the ooh, this is a deep question, Michael. What do you think is the allure of empty practices over genuine inner work? Why do people worship created things instead of the creator? Ooh, I mean that's because ego. Because ego, because of the ego. Um, Ego is it's creating the illusion of separation. It's creating all of these things that we're attached to, and all of the identity and issues and beliefs and assumptions, all that. Yeah, that's all ego. And the ego fears more than anything understanding awareness, understanding that you are not the ego, because that is a direct threat to set ego. So people get very averse to doing deeper inner work. Yeah, it's all ego. Can a person revise fully in 2 weeks, 1 month? 1 week. 3 days is what we believe basically as in our assumption. Yeah. Yeah, you can any of those timelines. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A person can be revised fully in, yeah, pick any amount of time. Pick any amount of time. I get the length of time that things take for us is, well, the double-mindedness will be a factor, naturally. If we're back and forth between the old story and what we want, that is what manifests what appears to us as a time lag or things being stagnant. Um, but then we also have the assumption that things take time. I mean, that's something we've been told our entire lives. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen right away. You have to be patient. This doesn't all happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. Things like that. So yeah, we're very much, things have to happen in an order. Things have to happen by progression, right? So it can't just instantly materialize and be different, even though it can. To us and how we have been conditioned, things happen gradually. There's a process to it. So it's all, yeah, it's all that. Hi, Maria. Hello. Oh my God. Oh, I've been slowly and inconsistently manifesting an old SP. A week ago today, after 10 years no contact, he reached out to apologize. I'm still stunned and not sure how to proceed. Oh my God. Congratulations. That's amazing. I first had the thought to use the law to manifest him in August 2020. Admittedly, I had been very double-minded, but the movement I got last week was undoubtedly manifestation at work. That is awesome. Allie, that is so awesome. So good. I love it. I love it so much. Congratulations. You got this. You got this. You got this. Yeah, it's kind of hard to deny what's at play here. That was, in fact, the law, yes. Inked and beautiful. All right, I got time for a couple more questions, 2 more questions, and then I do gotta check. Inked and beautiful. Have you ever mindlessly affirmed for something with success? I'm on total burnout with not many cares left to give, but I'm stubborn as all get out. LOL. And I think somebody earlier, I thought I saw earlier somebody asked the question about the mindless repetition. Well, let me back up. Anytime that I used mindless repetition, mindless affirmation, either it would not manifest, or if it did, it was short-lived. Because there's nothing changing there. Like, understand that manifestation is a transformation of self. It's not magically changing the outside. It is a transformation of self, because you ultimately manifest what you are, not what you want, what you are. Specifically, what you believe, what you assume, what you identify with, what you are paying attention to, what you're reacting to. So whatever that is what will manifest. If you barrage yourself over and over and over and over and over and over again, yeah, it may impress, it likely will impress, but has that caused a radical transformation of self? For me, it has always come with the affirmations that have worked for me, and I mean, like, lasting change, have been affirmations that I resonated with, that I felt I can get behind. Because think about how we're manifesting anyways. Like, we manifest the things that we resonate with, good or bad. Good or bad. So I'm not saying you won't manifest it by mindlessly, repeating something over and over. You might, I don't personally recommend it. But hey, to each their own. To each their own. You are so welcome. How exactly can we develop awareness and also intuition? Meditation? Yes. Yeah. Meditation has been for me the best way to develop that self awareness. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Intuition is essentially your beliefs. Anytime you have that gut feeling or that intuition, that's beliefs that you have, beliefs that you're carrying. That's why you are responding and reacting in a certain way, and ultimately why our gut feelings tend to manifest. But yes, I would meditation, and I know I've said this before, but cannot stress how helpful this is. Meditation is going to help you in so many ways, especially when it comes to conscious creation, when it comes to self-awareness, self-observation, a feeling of calm, not being as reactionary, not being as reactive. Sorry, helping you to stay focused. I mean, there's so many benefits. Yes, introduce meditation into your practice, 1000%. All right. Hi, Missy. I don't quite get SATs. You said you go into it before bed, sitting in a chair. Does that mean you don't fall asleep imagining? Good question, Giselle. And I am going to have a few more videos coming out about SATs because it is very, very, very misunderstood. And I think people get scared of it because it is a lot of misunderstandings around it, a lot of not understanding what's going on. In short, you can fall asleep. You don't have to. There's many different ways to apply SATs to go into the state akin to sleep. I do it. I do it at night. It's not always a visual scene that I go into, but I capture that feeling and take that with me into sleep. But even if it's just a meditation during the day, even if you go into a deep meditation during the day to get to that feeling, capture that feeling of that wish fulfilled, and you wake up and come out of it, that's fine too. If you haven't read Neville's book, Feeling is the Secret, I would absolutely read that one. You can find it. You can find the online PDF for free, or you can order it on Amazon. He explains a lot about SATs and the importance of SATs and sleep and the subconscious mind, conscious mind. It's a really, really, really good book. It's super beginner friendly, and if you have not read it, I would start there. And I am going to have a few more videos coming out talking about SATs and specifically that hypnagogic state, as it's called, because people are missing this, and yeah, we want to take advantage of this for certain. But yeah, you don't have to go to sleep. You can meditate. You can do it during the day. You can do it before bed. There's different ways to go about it. Definitely. Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys. Fortunately I've got to get going. I don't want to. I could stay here all day and do this, but much love to all of you. Thank you guys again so much for being here. If I did not get to you again, I am so sorry. I do apologize, but I will be coming back. I will be doing this on a regular basis. So much love to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned some stuff. And until we meet again, you guys, happy manifesting. Love all of you. Mwah.